reference didn't do well sales wise at first.
Go for it.
But people they always, when they talk about it, they talk about the sound of it, and that's Dirty Mind, meaning it had that demo feel. And that's what I think a lot of people got from Voodoo, like you said, like it wasn't clean, it wasn't pristine. And even like D'Angelo said in his Red Bull Academy interview, he thought Brown Sugar got butterized at the end, or he said like they, made it too buttery. He said
too buttery.
and he didn't want Voodoo to be that way. But when you talk to Prince fans about Dirty Mind, that's the first thing they say is that it sounds like it's demo tapes.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. And I just remember, and you probably do too, man, because like we used to do those poet gigs or coffee shop type gigs, and it's something about the grooves on each one of these 3 records you could play at those spots, and people would just lose it. Like,
you can play Spanish joint. It's right, like everybody. He's like, oh, Spanish.
Yeah.
As soon as you start playing Spanish joint, man, you can do it.
Yeah.
You start playing that, you're good. Or you start playing Untitled. You know what time it is. Like that. Like you could cool it out.
And I think that one of the things too that D'Angelo brought back, that I'm not gonna say I know he brought it back, but he certainly utilized it well. That Fender Rhodes type. I'm gonna ride this Rhodes out, and
Bring
so
the Fender Rhodes back.
For those of us who have listened to or have studied Stevie's classic run of albums, like that's on there, and I know for some people they probably don't remember, but at this time, using the Fender Rhodes was not.
It had been coming
a mainstay
back
on like R&B radio.
It had been coming back. There was, like, the only people that were using it were, so again, going back, Steely Dan, Donald Fagen, when he came out of retirement, he brought the Fender Rhodes back.
Right. Okay.
That's on the Kim Kimarad album or whatever. El DeBarge was still using Fender Rhodes.
Yeah. Okay.
He was still using. He stood long with that Fender Rhodes. I have to give, people don't give El enough credit, man. I was listening to him last night. He used that Fender Rhodes hard in the 80s. He would always, and then he switched it up to the Tyne DX7 sound. And then in the 90s, on the In the Storm record, 92.
He kind of went back, yeah. Chico used it on Long Time No See. Chico.
Oh yeah,
the Barge.
No, Chico was all over it.
Yeah, Chico was doing it.
That's also, people don't talk about that. That's a weird one, because I'm like, how did Chico hear the D'Angelo album, and really he came in like right behind him, like he literally was right behind him and sounded just like him for a minute. I was like, what is going on? Scott Chambers, Scott Chambers, yeah.
Scott said, Scott is there. He said, man, the track listing is almost similar to Brown Sugar. Like he said, like the cover is in the same place Cruising is, and this, whatever. Yeah. And Quiet as Kept, that's Chico's best album. Same manager. Kadar Massenberg, same as Eric and all that. So like that probably has something to do with it.
The only one that actually, the second record has some good stuff on it, but it's L being on that record helps out a lot too.
On a Long Time No See, yeah.
Because I mean, he's playing the organ,
the
organ all over Iggy.
Yeah,
he's doing all kinds of stuff. He's bleeding. There's a mic bleeding back there. He's just playing organ and just like,
and see,
just singing and stuff.
And see, there again, like that's why I say, because that album, like Long Time No See, like all this was in between Brown Sugar and Voodoo, Maxwell's. Eric Benet, Rashawn Patterson, Chico, and so
he was trying to be a light skinned D'Angelo for sure.
And I think where D'Angelo was like, okay,
LSD, I
need to set myself apart. He was like, I'm go do this band thing for real. Yeah. And so I'm gonna do this in a way like you said, take out all the quantizing and take out all of this and all that, and we go do it like we go record live in the studio.
Live.
I'm I'm gonna get this dude Pino Palladino to play his Fender Precision. Really, not overdub your parts, and you go play right here with us, and we go do all of this, and we just go let the tape roll, and then from that they just jammed out, and then from that they were like, okay, let's make a song out of this piece right here.
Yep.
Let's do this, and then I always say his secret weapon, which I hope he gets back to. He has Sadiq in on like one cut.
Sadiq, he always brings in Sadiq to that one song,
and he didn't do Black Messiah. He did nothing on Black Messiah.
Yeah,
and it shows.
You think so?
Oh man,
yeah. There's not a signature,
because he did Lady on Brown Sugar.
Yeah.
And then he did Untitled.
He did Untitled and Voodoo. That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. It's good to have Sadiq in there to have that.
I mean, and not to take anything from D with that, but I think that when you get them together,
yeah, they
come up with some magic stuff.
Him and Ali Shaheed.
Yeah,
him and Ali Shaheed should be, like in the mix.
Yeah,
sure. But they all, once they all got that shine, though, after that, it's difficult for them to get back together too.
Man, see, I still, like, to this day, and I'll be honest with you, when I saw all this stuff coming out, like in real time,
yeah,
I was so hopeful for, like R&B music. I was just like, right, oh man, it's going to a place now where, because, man, you got to remember, this is in between the time, like the same year Jill Scott's first one came out.
Yep.
The same year like Lucy Pearl came out. So
and Chris Rock was the guy that was breaking a lot.
Of this stuff
because that was the first time I saw Nick Acosta.
Yeah,
and Jill Scott was that on his show.
On his show, and I was so hopeful. Like, wow, like this is a collective that could, if they just. It looks like they're gonna be doing stuff,
right.
And it looks like they're gonna be, and then it just kind of like when they did that vibe piece, like I mean, the one picture that they took, you like, oh, it's great, and the next thing it's kind of like everybody was, like Questlove said, people kind of like picking on him, like, oh, you're not the boss.
They had to make it look like I work for, I work for you,
yeah.
Like, it's like, wow,
and so wow. I mean, I guess I kind of get it. But then I'm kind of like, man, like y'all couldn't, like set the, I guess whatever ego or whatever trip you, like you're like a phone call away, like y'all couldn't figure this out, like y'all just couldn't work it out. And so I think while we got some great music, we may have missed out on some stuff. But then again, maybe it was for the moment. I know for what it was.
Well, again, I think it helped bring Prince back too, though, because I feel like that, because. Listen, I mean, it's interesting that, Voodoo comes out and then all of a sudden Prince is going like on a hit and run tour with like
a stripped down band.
And he's doing that's the last time he did a lot of those songs, like the Darling Nikki, all the songs where he would cuss and stuff. Yeah. That was that last tour.
Yeah, the last tour, 2000. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And he started it in Richmond,
by the way. And I had that on audio, by the way.
Oh, man. There's video. I think on
what?
YouTube. There's video on YouTube. I'm pretty
sure. Man, I was so mad I missed that shit. I was standing outside. I stood outside the landmark looking pitiful.
I lived at GRC. and he was across the street.
I was so pissed.
And
but
that was
I heard he cursed the sound. Well, yeah, he does curse the sound man out, and that's why he hadn't been back.
Oh wow, he does curse the sound.
Yeah, it was the sound man because he was like, he was like, sound man, I'm not coming back for this.
Wow.
Yeah, that's why he never came back.
Yeah. To that venue.
Yeah.
No, because he played in 2004. He played Richmond, or he played close to Richmond. I think he played the JPJ.
Yeah, he might play like DC or something, or
he played somewhere close. Cause I remember he ended up playing a club or something like that, or they thought he was going to play a club in Richmond. He
never came back to Richmond after that show, man.
Wow. That's crazy.
But I will say this, man.
Well, oh no, I was going to say just that era. Mm-hmm. I think that helped him go into his real music, real instrument phase, where he's like, he did that for the rest of the decade.
He did,
where he basically stuck to this like the rhythm. You're going to hear the rhythm section. You're going to hear all the individual instruments.
Yeah,
and it's and. Alicia Keys came out, and it was
what else?
It was a vibe.
I know that's I think did it, and there again, like 2000, he put out Rave into the Joy 2000.
Right.
Now for all intents and purposes, you could say I don't diss Prince records because I never know where Prince fans kind of come in at.
Right.
You know, like that album, I know for them could be what Sign of the Times is for somebody else.
Sure.
Or what Purple. But I do know that he went into that record. I know reports say that he went into, I know that record trying to make like another Supernatural, or he wanted a Supernatural.
Yeah. He wanted a supernatural reaction.
Yeah, right.
He
yeah,
wanted that.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. Like what Santana got, he wanted it back. And I think for him again, when he, you know, it's not a bad album. You know, on its own. You know, when this is on its own now, like if you compare it to other Prince stuff, you might be disappointed. But when you hear it on its own, it's got some, you know, bright moments on it. But I think what happened was because the press was so hot on like D'Angelo and Questlove, and they were every chance that they got, oh, Prince is our dude. You know, Prince is our dude. Yeah. I think he started to step back, and not just because they were saying it, but because he saw like, wait a minute, these kids basically who grew up off my music are like musicians. Mm-hmm. I've jammed with them. Mm-hmm. I see them like they, you know, like he had to have seen some live shows like D'Angelo's or caught something, and he was like, okay.
I mean, he was on to him like in '96.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So he once he stepped back and saw, hey man, you know what? I don't need to do anything to stay relevant. Yeah. I'm already relevant enough, and I've already done enough to where I got these guys and some other people and other people and other people that dig me for me being me, not for me trying to appeal to, you know, like what the market is now. Like I've already done that.
Exactly.
And so he eased into like, okay, well, you know what? Then let me just do my musician thing.
He needed that. He needed that because New Power Soul was supposed to be what like the Voodoo thing is. Like he was supposed to do that. That like interrupted the progression for me personally. I feel like that when he did Emancipation, I was like, yeah, because like those songs, you know, you can say what you want. There's some songs that are not that great, but a lot of them are really,
it's 3 discs.
It's really good.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh man.
And then The Truth after that, I'm like, great. Like, I mean, this record is amazing.
Yeah.
And then he does New Power Soul, and I feel like he took like this. People do like that record now, but I feel like he took a step back, and it's like very overproduced. And then he does Raven to the Joy Fantastic, which again, very overproduced record. Sounds very good, but it's very overproduced. And then 2000, he doesn't come out with the record. He comes out with those singles. He comes out with You Make My Sunshine. Sounds exactly like Untitled. Sounds exactly like it. Like which is really weird. And he's got Angie Stone on it.
Yeah.
How you going to do an Untitled remake and then put D'Angelo's Girl on it? Yeah, obviously you're trying to send a message there.
Yeah.
Some kind of message.
Yeah, I think, man, you know, we may never know, and I could just guess, but I think he had. I mean, he's old school.
He was old school.
I mean, he was old school, and say, and say, you know, like, I know some listeners may be like, well, what y'all mean? Say by that meaning that, say, you know, like back in the day, I mean, cats didn't give you props just cause you had to like earn your, you know, your thing, and so I think this was one of those times where he was just like, you know what? I don't need MTV. Yeah. I don't need to be this. You know what I'm saying? I've done enough. I can still do enough. Yeah. I know I'm one of these dudes. I am as good as people think I am. You know what I'm saying?
Well, luckily he had the presence of mind at that time. Yeah. You know, that he was still Prince. So, and once he took the name back, that was actually a helpful thing as well. He took the name back, and then yeah, you're right. He's like, I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. He's like, I can just be me, and like I can just use like the media or the record companies as my will. Yeah. Because he's like, he knows. I mean, because like the Musicology album is what it is. I like some of the tracks on it. I think it's dope. It's definitely like more of a stripped down band record. Yeah. Which is cool, you know. But he was using that to say, look, I can still play. I can still do all this. I don't need all the stuff. Yeah, he was like, I don't really need the Linn drum machine. I don't need any of that. Yeah. Like I could just have an awesome band. I
can do basically 1-3-5 chord songs.
Yeah. I mean, Call My Name, there's not much to it. Like, he's written better love songs.
Oh, yeah.
But the thing is that he wanted to, it's the simplicity of it. Because I heard it I heard it the other day, and I was just like, it's just so simple. It's
but the critics love that album.